In this one, we're going to have a look at Anna Kasparian's response to CBS releasing the full 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, unedited with transcript, and how bad it makes Kamala look. She also goes on and blames Trump for the release because she says he is going after CBS with the FCC. But in my opinion, Trump has grounds to hold CBS's feet to the fire as a political opponent to Kamala Harris, simply because it's a tit for tat, right? They went after Trump over the whole campaign funds thing that ended up getting him slapped with 34 new felonies from, crimes that were misdemeanors beyond the statute of limitations, and then provided no proof to support the escalation of those misdemeanors into felonies. And so here we have CBS essentially in a campaign contribution to Kamala Harris by editing this interview in a manner that makes her look much, much better than she really is. But let's have a look at Anna Kasparian reacting to the full transcript and interview of Kamala Harris on 60 Minutes.
CBS has officially released the full unedited version. CBS has officially released the full unedited version of the interview they had with Kamala Harris back in October for 60 Minutes. And I'm talking about the entirety, right? As she was sitting down to get framed, all of it. It's all released to the public as a result of Donald Trump and his FCC essentially going after CBS for what Trump believes was an unfair editing that made Kamala Harris look better than she really sounded. So if you can remember, the main point of interest and the controversy in this pre-election interview was that Kamala Harris seemingly gave two separate answers in response to a question on Israel on two different broadcasts, or not in two different broadcasts, same broadcast, but that CBS intentionally edited her answer in what aired on the official 60 Minutes interview to make her sound better. So in a teaser clip that was released on Face the Nation prior to the full interview being aired, you can see the following exchange between Kamala Harris and journalist Bill Whitaker. Okay, so Whitaker asks, does the US have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu? Harris responds, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Harris continued in her answer that was part of the teaser clip. Now the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. And we're not going to stop in terms of putting that pressure on Israel and in the region, including Arab leaders. Whitaker kept pressing, saying, but it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. And she says, well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. So upon first glance, like that exchange appeared to have, been altered in the final cut of the full interview that aired for 60 Minutes. They basically cut it down significantly, right? And so what you saw if you watched the 60 Minutes interview was the following. Whitaker asks, does the US have no sway over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Harris responds, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Whitaker asks again, but it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. And then Harris responds, we are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. So the argument from the Trump team was, well, her actual full answer, which was edited down, was a word salad. It made her look bad. And CBS essentially put its thumb on the scale by editing her answer down so it's more concise and more like definitive and confident. Like, and Trump kept arguing that, this was changing the outcome of the election, even though it didn't change the outcome of the election. Trump won. And honestly, I mean, Kamala Harris's campaign was not good. I mean, he won the popular vote. So why do you keep pressing on this issue? Why are you still moving forward with this attack against CBS and using the FCC in order to do it? So there was an inquiry. The inquiry was originally dismissed. However, the case was reopened when Trump appointed Brendan Carr as FCC chair. So the transcript, in my opinion, proves that CBS didn't really do anything crazy, right? Like, you have to sometimes edit a pre-recorded interview down because of time restrictions. If you're broadcasting on television, you have to cut to break. So you have to edit certain things down. But according to the New York Times, the transcript of the interview shows that Harris gave a lengthy answer to a question about Benjamin Netanyahu. About 21 seconds of that answer was aired in a preview of the interview on Face the Nation. A different 7-second part of the answer aired the next day in an episode of 60 Minutes. And so, the FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr wants to basically drag this out, drag it longer, seeking public comment on the complaint through March, stating that the people will have a chance to weigh in. But really, the big question here, Cenk, is why did CBS even comply with handing over the full transcript and the full unedited video of the interview that they had with Kamala Harris? They could have easily fought this in court and they would have won. And they're right about that. This is a very common thing that every television news organization does. Fox News does it. Sometimes if we have a pre-recorded interview that we want to use in a story that we're doing, but the answer is way too long, I'll try to find the heart of what the person is saying so we don't run out of time and we can talk about the story longer. But this isn't really about, in my opinion, CBS being fearful of losing some sort of lawsuit. I think this is really about a merger that Paramount, the parent company for CBS, wants to ensure goes through without the Trump administration standing in the way. So Sherry Redstone is the chair of CBS. CBS's parent company, Paramount. Paramount wants to merge with Skydance. And in order to merge with Skydance, you're going to need Trump administration officials to play ball and not stand in the way of that happening. So I believe that Sherry Redstone, who's going to make a lot of money off that merger, has an interest, a financial interest in just playing ball with Trump, giving him what he wants to ensure that that merger goes through.
Wow, there's so much to unpack there. First of all, welcome to politics. The pendulum swings, as they say. And after 4 years or even 8 years of trying to go after Trump using the Democratic apparatus, which is the mainstream media and news sources and stuff like that, now you get to face the wrath of the winner, right? Donald Trump won, and the American people set a mandate that we want corruption rooted out. And we've seen in the last couple of days that Doge has exposed USAID, who has been funding Politico and New York Times, the BBC, all of these entities that have opposed Republicans and condemned Donald Trump, labeling with all kinds of different titles, right? Framing Donald Trump as this enemy of the United States, even to the point where they called him a Soviet Union asset when it came to the whole Russian collusion thing. So, I mean, let's get real here. Now that Donald Trump is in the White House, he's going to appoint the people that he approves of, and those people are going to act accordingly. And in my opinion, as it pertains to this whole merger that she mentioned with Paramount Plus and 60 Minutes and whatever, I think that 60 Minutes caved so easily because, one, they have more to hide, and they know that in discovery in a lawsuit in a courtroom, that could be subpoenaed, and they would have to either incriminate themselves, which would absolutely ruin the merger, or give up information that could be damaging as well. So either way, it was a lose-lose from their perspective to fight this case in court, and it was better for them to just try to settle. Not only that, it leaves the door open for Trump to maybe come on and do an interview on their station in the future. Maybe do another 60 Minutes interview, which, if you remember, the way that they handled Donald Trump the first time around was way different than the way that they handled Kamala Harris, which is also an important factor to consider. But if it were me and I were Donald Trump, I would not give any of these left-leaning entities that have gone after me and my family over the last 8 years any time of day. There's plenty of people on the right. There's plenty of independent media that you can go on their show and you can get your message out. You can even do it directly via Twitter and True Social, or I should say X and True Social. So he just has no need to try to appeal to the Democrats in this second term, which is his last term. And so he shouldn't even give them the time of day. They hate him. They're going to hate him. And what he needs to focus on is delivering his campaign promises, which is making the lives of every single American better, right? Also, I'll add, it's unfortunate that we can't just play those clips from 60 Minutes, but here on YouTube, they will definitely copyright strike you and all that stuff. So Kasparian had to narrate it. I do highly recommend that you go on X and find the full interview in its entirety, the transcript, and watch for yourself and see how different the actual interview was versus what they presented, and make the decision yourself. Were they trying to help Kamala Harris look better, and why? And weigh that against how 60 Minutes treated Donald Trump. And with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up there. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, as always, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. All those three really help me out. I got big goals this year, and I can only achieve them with your help. So preemptively, I thank you for helping me. And also, thank you for watching to the end. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.